Okay everyone, let's talk about whether this Halo CE project is going to be a remaster or a full-blown remake. I got a lot of flack in my previous video because I kept saying remake, but honestly, I just don't think there's any chance in hell that this is just a simple remaster. I don't think it makes any sense whatsoever. If Microsoft are truly planning on bringing it to the PlayStation, a simple remaster just isn't going to cut it. They need a game that is going to interest brand new fans and also the older Halo fans that also want something out of this remake or remaster. So what do I consider a remaster compared to a remake? To me, a remaster is simply taking the base game, improving some of the textures, improving some of the lighting, maybe modernizing some of the controls, and that's about it. Kinda boring. Whereas a full-blown remake, what I think this project is going to end up being is a lot bigger than that. First off, you're taking the base game and you're completely overhauling the graphics. Hopefully they do a better job than what they did in 2011. I think that looked absolutely terrible in my opinion. But if Unreal Engine is the direction that they're going to go, I feel like 343 kind of showed that they understand what Halo fans want from the look and feel of a Halo game with Halo Infinite. Yes, I know Infinite has its own issues, but visually, I think they landed in a really nice spot. So in my head, when I'm picturing a Halo CE Unreal Engine modern day game, it looks absolutely beautiful. You go from fighting on a beautiful beach to fighting in a Forerunner structure, and then you're outside in a snowy valley fighting the flood. All of this in Unreal Engine would look absolutely beautiful. Moving on from the graphics, I do think that they would adjust the gameplay a little bit to kind of meet more with what modern audiences expect. And I know this is going to be a hotly contested point, but I don't think there's any way around it, to be honest. Most FPS gamers nowadays do expect some form of sprint in their FPS games, so it would not surprise me if sprint was added to the campaign. I can literally hear all of you sighing right now, but I think we just have to prepare for that right off the bat. And to be honest, personally, Halo CE's missions are quite large, so having sprint doesn't really matter too much to me. But if they do a multiplayer alongside this and it has sprint and all these modern things in it, I think that's where people would start taking their issue. But now the final part of what I think would make this remake just absolutely perfect is taking the base game, having the story that we all know and love, but then expanding on that in many different ways. This is their opportunity to tell stories in the Halo CE campaign that were maybe cut for different reasons in the original development. They could take different stories from the books that maybe would make sense in the game that just weren't able to be put in there originally. They could expand on missions and make them even bigger than before. And something that I really hope they would consider doing is making certain areas in the game a little bit different than how they were in the original. And what I mean by that is if you've played CE even once or twice, you've probably realized it can be quite repetitive. That's probably my biggest issue with the game, how repetitive some missions can be. Yes, library, I am looking at you. So if they were to go back and remake the game, they could kind of go back to these repetitive areas and just put a completely new spin on them and make them an entirely new experience that returning players would get to enjoy for the first time. So in my mind, if they did a remake and they did all of this where they expanded on the original missions, made it look absolutely beautiful with Unreal Engine, and also just made the gameplay kind of work for modern audiences, I think it's a win-win situation. But in the end of the day, it still needs to feel like Halo and the game that we all know and love. Throwing a CE Magnum in there and calling it a day just isn't gonna cut it.
Oh my god! Run for your life! He's got the Halo 1 pistol!
So when it comes to modernizing the gameplay, they cannot sacrifice what the OG audience knows and loves just to kind of meet the checkbox for what the modern audience expects. Halo is Halo in the end of the day. It's still very much its own thing. You know, people play Halo because they can't get that experience anywhere else. So if they do a Halo CE remake, I really hope that they keep that in mind and keep it Halo at the base of it. But yeah, that's why I think this is going to be a remake. I don't think a remaster would have the impact that Microsoft would want or expect. But let me know down in the comments, what do you think on this? Do you think it's going to be a remaster? Do you think it's going to be a remake? Do you not want it at all? This is a pretty interesting subject that honestly has completely blindsided me, but it is a lot of fun to talk about. But I'm going to try and keep pumping the videos out. I'm still a little bit sick, but hopefully I can recover soon. But have a great rest of your day, stay safe, and I shall see you in the next one.